Hey, what's up? I'm Dilio. I'm an independent artist and music producer. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And as you see before me, right here, we have the Juno-X. This is the latest Juno released from Roland. And in this video, I'm going to go over my first impressions of it. Not really giving you anything really super produced or scripted, but just kind of like an organic experience of what I've dealt with it and how I got into it. So, in full disclosure, this is here on loan. I'll just play some sounds. And obviously the first thing is, how does it compare to a DeepMind 12? That's where I come from. I'm an owner of a DeepMind 12, and it's very closely reminiscent of a Juno-X type of thing. But as I was doing more research with this keyboard, I was understanding like you had the Juno-X in here, you got the Juno-106, and then the Juno-X in here, and like there's more low end in the 106. So what is this thing all about? It's fully digital, but it has a very analog sound. It also has a Zen Core engine, so you can load other instruments into it. And you know, the first thing that I dealt with when I got this keyboard is that it sounded really good, and I thought that this is how you browse patches, and in a way it is, but it was sort of confusing to me because the numbers here represent so many different things. You can select a step in a step sequencer right here between these 16 notes, and you can also select a model. So if I wanted to do that, I could select different models and layer them on together. There's a lot to go over this board, so you know, there's probably gonna be more than one video of this, but my first impression of it is when I played it, it's like it sounded good. Like in the beginning, there's scenes, right? And what a scene represents is a collection of 4 parts plus a rhythm part combined together. Whereas I'm thinking, okay, I just want to play the keyboard, but I didn't realize I was dealing with scenes. So a scene can have just one instance of a Juno, or if you want 4 instances of a Juno-X, or 1 instance of a Juno-X, 1 instance of a 106, 1 instance of a 60, 1 instance of an XV5080 sound module. It gets pretty fast pretty quickly on scenes. And then if you want to change a part of the scene, you would hit the part button, and now you can select parts 1 through 4, and you can turn them on and off there. So before we do that, let's just go ahead and check out some of the sounds. Like I made some notes about the sounds on this keyboard, and I'm just going to go over it. So when you turn on the keyboard, you're going to hear this sound. And you can already hear that there's a lot of low end. And that was very happy to me because, and I'm going to be comparing this a lot, the DeepMind 12, you can get low end, but it's like you got to do more work to get there. Whereas just out the box, you got all the gain, and this is a louder keyboard. And the whole point of the DeepMind 12 was like kind of like a Juno-X on steroid with 12 analog voices. So I applaud them for that. But Roland said, "Hey, we're going to do our thing like this." And I'll play some more sounds for you. And if you want to browse sounds, I thought the sounds are browsed here in scene mode, but actually it's these 2 knobs right there. I wasn't a fan of that at first, but as I kept messing with it, I got used to it. So here's a lead. There's a sound there. Here's a one for it. And again, I'm using scenes. Right? And then here's another sound. This is one of my favorite sounds. So you got the arpeggiator running with it. So as you can see, you can layer the parts right there and play them together. Let's check out this other sound right here, 206. So that's like a classic. You got a classic Juno 106 brass there built in. And the crazy thing is like you can layer 4 of those together if you want to, or layer different things. As you can see, the layout is cool. It just sounds good. The presentation is cool. And one of the more kind of disturbing, well, surprising things was that there's speakers like right here. There's a speaker grill like right here on each side. And there's some on the back. So before you even hook it up to anything, you just play it and you'll hear something. Which is okay. It's like there's a lot to this board. You know, I think this is like a new family heirloom type of keyboard. I know that I've heard stories of people saying, "Oh, I wish I kept my Juno," because probably there was a time where it's like it was just sitting there, nobody's playing in it, and the value went down, and now they're going back up, and people who had it wish they never sold it. This is the type of keyboard that you probably want to get and keep and not sell it because it does so much. And it's going to be more longer lasting because it's fully digital. I know even myself sort of fanboyed the whole analog thing a little bit with wanting things to be analog. And we got that with the DeepMind, but kind of Behringer took it. They did good with it, but it's like it didn't have that gain, that girth to it, that strong sound. Whereas this, I turn this on, I get that. And it's weird because this thing has like a temperature gauge on it. So what they do is kind of crazy. They're simulating the way that the keyboard will respond based on temperature. So if it's warmer or colder in the room, the oscillators are going to act differently. And then it has to warm up. And you can turn that on and off. It's just ridiculous. And on top of that, you got these Juno. But let me just show you the XV5080. I'm like, why did they throw that in there? And it has the XV5080 sounds in there. If I go to like an empty initialized scene, like 1616 right there, right? And then I go to model bank, I could select the XV5080, and now we got that. Sound like a dang on Roland piano. And you can hit enter to get the list of sounds. So if I want that classic R&B, and it sounds good off of here. Has that velocity, you know. D50 organ off a synthesizer. And the cool thing is like you can take these sounds and mix them, you know, into you can mix them with the synthesizer. You can mix them with the. So one of the things I don't like, let's talk about some of the things I don't like, was the sound browsing. I don't like the small screen, but I imagine you have to have a small screen to still fit that classic Juno form factor. The course sounds good. You can have noise on the Juno. So let me see. I'll just show y'all that real quick. So let me just initialize the whole scene. So if I want to add chorus, you got that chorus. It sounds big. You can add drive, reverb. The sequencer is still very kind of cumbersome to me. I'll put it this way. You'll have to kind of like really wrestle with it or take your time and read the manual and practice with the sequencer on here, because it has like a sort of like a 5-part sequencer built in here, so you can make your own grooves in here, which is cool. But it's confusing. And then just the intuitiveness I have with other pieces of equipment, it took a hit because the way this is laid out, I couldn't do the same thing. You know, I had to kind of really struggle to, okay, well, how do I get this? And I was like, okay, I got it. Nah, I don't got it. And that kind of creates a different thing there, you know. And then you got the sequencer here, and you know, you can do stuff there. You can step edit. So now you got step edit. Notice how the buttons change. If you can see it, I know it's kind of washed out with the light, but you can see it change. You know, and so browsing sounds, I don't like browsing sounds on it. And I like how it sounds. It sounds great. That's awesome. Layering the sounds and programming them can be a little tricky. There's a software editor. I didn't like that because it was sort of slow and clunky. And in order to really expand this thing, like you got to get like this Wi-Fi dongle that comes with like a year of Rolling Cloud subscription. And it's like another $99. But I guess if you can afford a $2,000 keyboard, you can afford another $100 to get the USB dongle and control it wirelessly. Because I believe there is an app. There's an app that lets you navigate the sounds from the app and select them on here, or send sounds to it. So there's like a Wi-Fi connected to the internet thing to get more sounds in here. So you can have a ton of sounds. If you really wanted to have a bunch of sounds, you can. And the simple interface is cool. You have to kind of get used to the small screen. And the arpeggiator is a little complicated, but sometimes you can really you can really sort of accidentally come on some good sounds. So if I wanted to like turn on the arpeggiator or something, let me get out of that. If I can get out of that. See, I don't even know how to get in and out of the sequencer because this is. And I mean, you can really accidentally get some good sounds. And I'm not even really stretching this thing out yet. And you got different filters you can use. I mean, there's a whole lot to it, which is why I'm not even going over the features. And probably the favorite feature I like on this keyboard is not only the sound of it, but its vocoder. Its vocoder sounds amazing. It's a really nice sounding vocoder. I mean, you can really have a lot of good fun with this. But that's my first impromptu conversation with you about this keyboard. There's a whole lot more to go with it as far as how to program it and how to use it. But just out the box, it's a really high quality keyboard. I was a little skeptical of it because the whole digital thing, but really Roland has really taken that and ran with it and sort of kind of broken that disbelief that digital based synthesizers can sound good. They sound good. They're hitting, and they really went all out with this board, and I definitely like it. So stay tuned for more. I'm Delio. You're watching the Delio T2K YouTube channel. This is my first impression of the Juno-X. I don't even really want to dislike. I'm uninterested or indifferent to liking it or not. But when I played it, I was very curious about it, and I really like it. So I'm signing off. I could go talk about this all night. Thank y'all for watching. Stay tuned for more. Y'all watching Delio T2K.